There is a right all kids have. All kids have a right to, I think, know their parents. And I know there's all sorts of concerns about adoption in this, and some people want the adoption to be secret, and I'd rather have a kid adopted than not, or than, God forbid, aborted. So I can see the arguments on that side, but I believe kids have a right to know who gave them birth. I believe they have a right to know their DNA and their history and their family history. I believe human beings have that right because you decided to bring a child into the world. And you can make this more complex in the cases where someone is sexually assaulted and then decides to keep the baby. And at that point, everything should be done to make that person as comfortable with that decision as possible. It should be as rewarding as humanly possible because it really is a sacrifice. And many women find out after that it becomes a joyful thing, that they're able to look past the horrific thing that occurred to them. And there's also, though, this right that kids have to not be abused. We know that. Kids should not be abused and parents should not abuse them. Isn't that a right? I think kids have a right to be treated kindly, firmly, raised in the right way. But there's another right they have, and it conflicts with a right recently invented. And it's being worked upon to push. Artificial surrogacy. The surrogacy of bulk of billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar businesses creating babies largely for same-sex attracted men is taking some of these rights away from kids, the right to know their parents. I believe kids have a right to a mother and father because I believe that's God's design, because to this day, you can't create a child with two men or two women. Therefore, I believe they have a right to know their mother and father, and I believe they have a right to a family unit with a mother and father. And sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes divorce comes in. But there is a narcissism that's being produced through commercial surrogacy. And that narcissism is being produced, it's being fostered, and it's being pushed. And one single headline in Slate, in their advice column, makes this very, very clear. And it is a war, I think, for the future of what it means to be a parent and therefore what it means to be a child. And it's becoming sort of a shooting war in a way. I'll explain that in a second. My friend Tim Cruikshank is a father. He's also a retired Navy SEAL, and he knows what it is to be in real shooting wars. Tim was a Navy SEAL. He was a medic attached to the SEAL teams on 3 different deployments. And while he was overseas, he became addicted to something. And it's sad, man. It's sad. He's seen things in his addiction. It's coffee. It's coffee. I'm addicted to it as well. And on that battlefield, in one of those deployments, Tim made a decision. When he came home, he would found a coffee company, and he would use it to honor Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs are great at visualizing things and then carrying out their plans. So Bone Frog Coffee was born, and it exists. Every bag says God Country Team on it because that's how Tim runs his life. The coffee inside is either made by or it's the result of mentoring from Dave Stewart, the founder of Seattle's Best Coffee. Therefore, the coffee is stellar. It's not some private labeled garbage. Simply try it. That's all I ask. And if you don't like it, I was going to say a communist, but I'm just going to say you have terrible taste in coffee. Go to bonefrogcoffee.com/Todd. Use code Todd at checkout to save 10% on your first purchase. Bonefrogcoffee.com/Todd to save 15% on subscription coffee. Bonefrogcoffee.com/Todd. This is a war over the nature of parenting, what it means to be a parent, and therefore what it means to be a child. I believe children have a right to not be a purse or a set of shoes. I'm speaking euphemistically, of course. In other words, accessories. This is from Slate, their Dear Prudence section. Help! My husband wants his ex-wife as our surrogate. I can't do this. Advice by Jenny Desmond Harris. So these are, the picture here is 2 men in a passionate kiss. One man much taller than the other, and then to the side, a silhouette in pink. The men are in black and white. In pink is the woman pregnant. So the story goes that this man decided to announce that he was same-sex attracted. Therefore, he could not stay married to his wife. And he had fallen into love with this man. And so they break up the family. His existing family now has no dad in the home. And the family unit is split. And now he wants a new family from the same woman who gave him his existing family, the one from which he ran. God gave him a gift of kids to steward, and he ran from that gift. There is a level of narcissism here that's difficult to comprehend. And I believe it has been pushed and fostered by artificial surrogacy, IV surrogacy, because now it's just we should acquire a child. Well, to me, acquiring a child, if you are doing it for purposes of accessorizing, and many people do that these days, sadly, that's a sin. To turn around and say to an ex-wife you left because you are same-sex attracted, you've just announced this, and then to turn to her and say, will you carry our child for 9 months? Unspeakably narcissistic, and may God forgive.